welcome to Tobar's Realm. Today I think I'm going to start making a model of this ring that I found. I don't really remember having it, but my wife found it in some of her stuff, probably from back in high school. But what I want to do is make a copy of it and make it like a wall hanging. Maybe about 12-14 inches across or so. Make it out of 1/8 inch steel and just use scrap pieces and form it to make this Viking skeleton skull wall hanging. So I'm just going to start off by sketching out life-size sketch of it just to kind of get an idea of sizes and the patterns and stuff. So I'm going to get started on that. Alright, well, I got my initial picture drawn, which isn't great, but it's a good starting spot, I think. Kind of got a profile picture. But then I realized I got a styrofoam head that I have for displaying this mask I made during lockdown. So I'm just going to use the styrofoam skull and use that to make my pattern off of. I think that'll be a lot easier. Alright, so since I got this styrofoam head, I think I'm going to start just by using a Sharpie and kind of sketching out where the eye sockets will be, the nose, the jaw. I think I'm going to make the chin wider because this is like very narrow chin. But that's where I'm going to start out, kind of sketch where the helmet is and stuff like that. So let's start it on that. Well, I just spent some time with the razor knife shaving this down, and I think it looks way more like a skull now. Kind of light bulb shaped to begin with, so just shaved off some of the extra, and that's more like, I think that's close enough to start figuring out the patterns for the metal. Alright, so just continuing on with the helmet here, I got that first brow piece done, and I got a piece of 1 inch. I'm gonna work to make that front part that'll go on the helmet there. And I've just gotten this metal off of a piece of scrap 1 inch angle iron. I just cut it right along the corner there. That's where I got this strip from. And then the 1 inch pieces I'm going to use for the rest of the helmet. So I'm just going to get this sized up for that. Alright, I got those pieces for the helmet tacked together and formed and all that. So now I'm going to make these pie piece ones. Alright, I got the helmet part put together here, just tacked together. I'll go back and weld those again, but I think it's turning out pretty good. Pretty nice fit there. So now I got to move on. I think I'm going to do the horns next. I think those will probably be the hardest part, or one of the hardest. Alright, moving along on the horns. I got the helmet part kind of cleaned up a little bit, but on the horns I just made a copy of it with some packing paper and wrapped in duct tape just to keep its shape. And I cut a section of pipe out. I started putting a little bit of a curve in it to make that corner around the end here, and then I'm just gonna make some small segments here that'll line up with it and weld those together. I'll get this cut out and put a double curve in the side here, and then just kind of work my way around, get it, see if I can copy this model. So here's what I'm starting with, a piece of pipe. Just cleaned it up and bent that edge around, so continue on with that. Alright, just finishing up shaping the horns. That's pretty close to my original model. Just got it held together with some duct tape before I weld it. That turned out pretty good. I think I'm going to shorten that bottom part up just a little bit, adjust the angle. Those will go right about there. So I'll weld that together and grind it. I'm not going to worry about it for now. And then on the top, I think I'm going to put just a little piece of angle iron, cut it like that. And then I can move on to the face. So I'm glad to have these done and out of the way. Alright, I got the helmet pieces welded together and those horns shaped out. So now I'm going to start on the forehead. Alright, so working on the forehead and brow piece, this is the pattern I made. That'll be the top of the eye sockets. Cut it out of this piece of scrap, and I've been working on getting it formed. So this would be the temples and forehead and eye sockets. So it's getting close to where I want it. Alright, starting on the cheeks and the bridge of the nose, I just got a pattern here that I think will be close. That'll go like that, and I'll already cut the pieces out. I cut them a little big. I can grind off or cut off what I need, so that'll go somewhere around here. So time to start bending this. Alright, I got those cheek pieces formed out. Those were a little more difficult than I was anticipating, but I'm pretty happy with this, I guess. So I think I'm going to tack weld it together, get a look at it before I commit. Alright, well, I got that welded together. I'm going to clean up all these, at least on the outside, smooth all those out, and then start on the upper jaw. I'm not going to weld the helmet on yet, because I think it'll be too hard just to manipulate it, but not bad. Alright, that's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to put a roll towards the end of this just to tighten it up for the piece that's going to go right there. So I'm going to bend these edges over a little, I think. See how it looks. Alright, moving on to the teeth. I think I'm just going to pound some 1/4 inch rod flat, cut them off, weld them in there. And I think I'll use the teeth as the upper lip part too. I did that before. Check out my demon skull video. That seemed to work pretty good, just using the teeth as the upper jaw where it's welded. I'm going to start making up some of these. Alright, continuing onward here. I just got the teeth tacked together and taped on here. I think they turned out alright. Got some cheek pieces. Got some repairs to go back and do. That flux core wire gives me a ton of porosity. But next on to the jaw. So I think I'm going to do it like this. Let's get that cut out and shaped. Alright, continuing on here, I just got it kind of tacked together working on this lower jaw, the teeth in place. So got some welding to do, fix this porosity, and just clean up some spots, get it welded, and be continuing with that. Alright, working on grinding down those welds to form the brow. There's going to be a couple spots I'll have to touch up afterwards, but just going to continue grinding these down just to make that brow over the eye there. Alright, about halfway done cleaning up those welds. I just did one half of his face just to kind of contrast it. A little dental work with a wire wheel and Dremel. So coming together pretty good. I will, oh, and I added a little bit of a curve on the bottom of the chin there. Just that piece just I didn't like the way it looked. It hadn't been worked really, so added a little curve on the bottom of it. So just going to continue on with this side. Alright, well, the skull face is basically done. I think it turned out pretty good. And the helmet, I didn't really like the way that the weld looked on here, so I tried taking it off and see how that looked, but I don't like that either, so I'm gonna go and add a new welds there and hope that they turn out better than my original ones. But getting pretty close to being done. Now, as far as mounting it, I went and I bought this wooden plate, but I'm going to use that to mount it to, and then I can hang it on the wall like that, so that should look pretty good. So I'm going to work on the wood plate part. I think I'll put some like Nordic runes around the outside and stain it. So I'm going to start on that. Alright, so moving ahead on getting this wooden mounting plate stained. I put a thin coat of black stain on it and let it dry overnight. Now what I'm going to do is just sand it lightly to get some of this grain exposed, and then I'll stain it again with some colored alcohol ink dye that's used for epoxy resin coloring. So I'm just going to do a light sanding on this. Alright, so I sanded it down and exposed some of that grain. I'm just going to use the alcohol ink. I just use it straight. I know you can water it down with some alcohol, but I like the brightness of the pure color, so let's try this out and see how it looks. Alright, moving back to the front, I got the runes I want on there, penciled on, and I'm just gonna carve them in there with my Dremel. So let's start on that. Alright, I got the little spot welds back in the border of the horns. I'm happy enough with that. Now I need to get it lined up on here and tack that helmet on where I want it, and then this will basically be done. Alright, I got the helmet tacked on, so that's done. Here's the plate part. That turned out really nice with the red and black. So just need to get this centered on there and screw it on. And I think it'll be basically done. All done. That was pretty fun. Thanks for watching. Until next time.